Welcome back to Lions News Fan Report, where we bring you the latest and most exciting sports news every single day. This is the place where diehard Lions fans, draft obsessives, and gridiron dreamers come together to dissect every move, every rumor, and every twist in this wild ride we call the NFL offseason. If you thought day one of the draft was exciting, buckle up, because the Detroit Lions are just getting started. After selecting Ohio State's powerhouse defensive tackle Tyleek Williams with the 28th overall pick, the real intrigue is only beginning. And as day two looms large, there's one name echoing through fan forums, front office hallways, and maybe even behind the closed doors at Allen Park: Jonas Sanker. No, he hasn't been picked yet. No, the Lions haven't made a move yet. But if you listen closely, the signs are there. The breadcrumbs are scattered. And if you follow them, they just might lead to one of the smartest, sneakiest, and most explosive pickups of the entire draft weekend. So don't blink, don't click away, because we're about to break down everything you need to know about the player no one is talking about loudly, but everyone might be talking about after tonight. Right now, after locking in Tyleek Williams, a high-motor interior disruptor who immediately boosts Detroit's D-line, the Lions are holding the 60th pick in round 2 and the 102nd pick in round 3. But here's the thing, Brad Holmes doesn't like to sit still. We've seen it before. We saw it last year when he maneuvered his way to land Jahmyr Gibbs and Jack Campbell early. This front office is aggressive, calculated, opportunistic. So when Holmes says something like, "There are still some good players that are worth it if I wake up and have that feeling," you listen. You pay attention. Because that's not small talk. That's a warning shot. Could that feeling be about Jonas Sanker? Let's talk about this guy for a minute because honestly, I don't think the general public fully understands how well he fits what Detroit is building. Sanker isn't your prototypical safety. He doesn't have the social media hype. He's not doing viral interviews. But what he does have is production, grit, violence, and a relentless motor that screams Dan Campbell guy. Over the last 2 seasons, Sanker racked up 205 combined tackles. That's not just a big number, it's an eye-opener. This is a safety who plays like a linebacker in the box and like a corner in space. He has the physicality to come down and punish running backs between the tackles, but he's also rangy enough to float in zone and bait quarterbacks into bad throws. He's a chess piece, a weapon, the kind of defender who erases mistakes and turns blown coverages into big plays. But it's not just about raw numbers. It's about how he plays. Watch the tape. Every snap is fast, aggressive, controlled chaos. You'll see Sanker diagnose a play, take 2 sharp steps forward, and then explode through a blocker like he's got rocket fuel in his cleats. And that right there, that downhill, all-gas, no-brakes mentality, is exactly what the Lions want in their defensive backfield. They don't just want guys who react. They want guys who attack. Here's where the speculation really heats up. When you look at the Lions' current safety room, there are questions. C.J. Gardner-Johnson is gone. Kirby Joseph, while promising, battled injuries late last season. Brian Branch is a phenomenal talent, but more of a nickel/slot hybrid than a true deep safety. If Detroit wants a true enforcer in the back end, someone who brings that Malcolm Jenkins, Cam Chancellor, Derwin James type of edge, it might be now or never. And that's where Sanker enters the conversation in a serious way. Imagine for a moment that the Lions aren't planning to sit at 60. What if Brad Holmes sees a run on defensive backs starting around pick 50 and says, "We need to move"? What if the Lions package pick 60 and a future 5th to slide up 6 or 8 spots and grab their guy before anyone else can react? It wouldn't be unprecedented. It wouldn't cost a ton. And it could end up being the kind of subtle, brilliant move that pays off in a huge way when we're analyzing this draft in a few months. Some insiders are already whispering that Sanker is being undervalued due to positional bias. Safety isn't always considered a sexy pick in round 2. But that's exactly the type of inefficiency Holmes has exploited in the past. Remember Amon-Ra St. Brown in the 4th round? That wasn't just luck. That was identifying value where others weren't looking. Could Jonas Sanker be the next great day 2 steal? Could the Lions be the team ready to make that bet? And it's not just Detroit that's interested. Rumors are swirling that teams like the Jets, Ravens, and Dolphins have done quiet homework on Sanker as well. If that's true, and if even one of those teams considers him round 2 talent, the clock is ticking for Holmes to make a move. He can't wait until pick 60 if the buzz starts building in the early 50s. So if we suddenly see the Lions on the board at pick 54 or 55, don't be surprised. In fact, expect it. Let's also talk about culture for a second. You've heard Dan Campbell talk about grit 1,000 times. But it's not just a word, it's a blueprint. It's about football intelligence, discipline, fearlessness. Sanker checks every box. He's a coach's dream, a locker room leader. In fact, he was one of the emotional centers of that Virginia defense. And there's something to be said for that. When you're building a championship-caliber team, you don't just draft talent. You draft tone setters. Sanker sets the tone. Fans are starting to catch on, too. Just last night, a viral tweet showed a side-by-side of Sanker and former Lions safety Glover Quinn. The caption? "This is the energy we've been missing." Thousands of likes, dozens of quote tweets, and more than a few people saying, "Get this man to Detroit." Still, the draft is unpredictable. It only takes one team to fall in love, and Sanker could be off the board before Detroit even gets the chance. But here's a question worth asking. If the Lions do land him, what does that say about their strategy? About their vision? About where they see this defense heading in 2025? Think about it. Add Tyleek Williams on the interior. Pair him with Ala McNeil. Let Aiden Hutchinson feast on the edge. Plug in Sanker behind him, patrolling the middle, flying around like a heat-seeking missile. Suddenly, you're not just improving the defense. You're building an identity. A ruthless, physical, no-nonsense defense that doesn't just stop opponents, it punishes them. Could this be the missing piece? Could Jonas Sanker be the spark that takes this Lions defense from dangerous to dominant? That's the million-dollar question. And here's another one. If the Lions don't take him, and he goes to a team like the Ravens or Dolphins and becomes a breakout star, will we look back and say, how did we miss that? But what do you think? Should the Lions make the move? Should Brad Holmes be aggressive and go get their enforcer of the future? I'm telling you right now, I would love to see it happen. I can already imagine him flying across the field at Ford Field, laying the wood on some poor receiver and setting the tone for the entire game. I can't wait to read your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe to Lions News Fan Report, and turn on the notification bell so you never miss an update. Thanks for hanging out with us today. And get ready, because tonight could get very, very interesting.